Welcome back to another episode of the Four Train Savages podcast. My name is Rob. Tyler is on the other end of the Zoom room as always. It's episode number 210. The Yankees just finished up a three-game set over in Cincinnati. Also, the last time when we recorded, it was prior to the Yankees playing a three-game set in the Bronx against the Baltimore Orioles. That series they won. Tyler, this series against the Reds, they lose, but they yesterday they were able to win that final game. A really great outing from Max Fried, but
hmm
it's the Yankees are playing like the weather is affecting them. The heat in New York, especially both of us being in New York right now, man, it's hot. And
Todd, brother.
over in Cincy, some of the players are being affected. So the June
Yeah,
swoon and this heat wave
full
is
effect. Both New
is
York
full
teams.
effect. Yeah, both New York teams who are going to be playing each other. What is it next week on July 4th? So
Damn.
it season's cruising, and
hmm
the Yankees are hitting their traditional rough period, traditional where they hit a bit of a skid. Hopefully, they can turn it around this weekend. Again, they play. I was about to say the Oakland A's, but the actually now official, I think, right? Vegas A's.
Yep.
They did those
Broke
shovels, so
ground, baby.
they broke ground on that. So
Mhm.
they'll play the A's this weekend. But Tyler, this Yankees team now is, I think they're only
Game up, man.
a
Yep.
game up in the standings on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Blue Jays are 3.5 back. The Red Sox went through a sweep against the Angels, so they got a little taste of what the Yankees had not too long ago. And division race, man, we're in the thick of it. Summer months, it's hot. It's gonna and the rest of the AL East is hot on the Yankees' heels. So
Yeah,
any
dude.
big takeaways from this past week? I know it's kind of more of the same, even though they won that last series against Baltimore, which was nice. But what you
Yeah.
thinking?
I'd say individual takeaways they'll probably get into is, dudes like Trent and Ben Rice have turned it a little bit.
Hmm.
And I really don't think my outlook on the team has changed too much. It's just they're playing like shit right now. I don't think everyone's going to struggle forever. I think Jazz has obviously been great since he's came back. But the pen has blown some games. The pen's tired, man. Um, it's nice that they're a game up still.
Hmm.
But you kind of thought 2, 3 weeks ago that the Yankees were going to kind of skedaddle away with the American League East, and then seemingly I just feel like the Rays
Nope.
like don't lose anymore. I mean, every time I check every night, it seems like they
We
win.
should get half of their wins, right? Because they play
Yeah,
in
right.
Steinbrenner. That should be those
Exactly.
should be our
I
wins.
think that's logical. Toronto, I'm going to be honest. I'm still not incredibly concerned about necessarily. I think they'll be in the mix, but they're 5 games up. The
I
Yankees are still
Yeah.
12 games up, or excuse me, 12 games above 500. But yeah, man, it kind of feels like a classic, like Yankees Rays type of thing is going to go on now
Yeah, it
for the
looks
rest
like
of the
it.
year.
Yeah, I would be on the same page with you there. I think you can't take any of the AL East really too, for granted, or you can't take that positioning just for granted, especially
Mhm.
in the June. But the Rays, man, they're pesky. They're
Yeah,
pesky and they're annoying. And now it's like,
just felt like they could
when's the
easily be
next
like eight and a
time?
half up or seven and
I
a
think they
half
got
up.
two series versus the Rays. So they play them at the end of July and then just one time next month. And then they play Toronto a lot. So that's an area where you can get some
I feel
distance
like
in
we've
July.
barely, yeah, I feel like we've barely played the Rays
And
too, but
it's with the expanded play.
yep. What
That's the
we
way
play him 13 times, right? I think something like that.
I think. Yeah, it's about 12 or 12
And it
around there,
was
12 or 13.
18 or 19, I think.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
yeah,
lot of
it goes
games.
back to like the Yankees now where yes, they got off to a very nice start. It goes back to this is baseball and it's June and this is far from over and you look at the surface level stuff and you're saying the Yankees are a playoff team
They've also just
and
blown so many late games,
it's and that's something I
like
wanted to
so
talk about
many.
in this episode is maybe not last year because it wasn't as close of a race, but now this year. And we joke about it and it's frustrating, but the Yankees literally just they give the impression, and I would not be surprised that they just don't care about extra inning games. They're like, oh, we don't even. It's just the way that they operate. It's so they're just terrible in extra inning games.
Yeah,
They're so
as a road
bad.
team,
Well,
I'm
this
pretty sure they have like the best record at home in extra innings, but they have the
not
worst.
this year, not this.
Not this year. I'm
Yeah,
talking since the rule has been in place, but
I
yeah,
think overall
they're
they've been one of the
terrible.
worst. I don't know if you look at the exact splits, but it could be just because the road outweighs whatever they do at
Yeah,
home.
I'm like 90% sure they're the best team in extra innings at home and the worst team on the road.
Extras, so in extra innings this season,
Since 2020, I'm talking about. But yes,
okay.
since this season, I
So
imagine
this
not.
season in extra innings, they're batting 063, a 205. This is their slash line 063, 205, and then another 063 with 32 at bats, two hits, zero extra base hits, two runs. So it it's definitely a talking point, and it's so annoying as watching these games. It's as if every time that they've gone on and you're like, oh, it's going extras. I don't know how this is going to pan out for the Yankees. And they just,
Hmm.
eh, the night on, what was it? Tuesday, it was, that was just a weird game. But you say, here we go again. And I think it's not to
Shouldn't have got
say,
there. Weren't they up 3-0?
I think they were up by, I think at that point they were up by two, but we'll get into the exact, um, the way it panned out. But I think I'd really like it if they got better at it. I would really like them to see them win close games at the end because I get scared.
I would like that too.
I get nervous when you watch this team. And yes, it's regular season, but typically we've seen that tendencies for this Yankees team end up happening in October, and you'd like
Mhm.
them to perform well in extra inning games and just I don't know.
Just win the game. I don't even really care about the rest of the stuff. They just don't win the games.
Yeah, but they don't have the habits and they don't have the
No.
execution late game. I mean, I know they won the game the other day, but like Ben Rice didn't know how to tag up.
Yeah,
Like, what are we
that was
doing?
that was weird. I've seen like stuff like that, like the Volpe error the other week, the Ben Rice there. I mean, that is very Jason getting picked off, all of those things, Jazz not shutting the fuck up. All of those things are very, very annoying. I don't think
But you
they're
don't think that that can then creep in if it's just it's
yeah,
that can
I think it can
happen.
all creep in. I'm more upset. Like, I feel like this year we have seen a little bit of a shift in the approach of the offense a lot of the time. Outside of Volpe not really having a two strike approach, it feels like. I mean, we've said we're like, hey, they seem like a more put together team. They kind of, prior to 2, 3 weeks ago, we felt like they were a better base running team. Felt like they had the fundamentals a little,
We
more
thought.
emphasized.
We thought.
Um, Definitely not these last few weeks, but the one area where nothing looks like it has ever changed is it does seem like in extra innings, they would rather have a big inning and win or just virtually roll over and lose because they don't care about really getting that ghost runner over. They're just like someone gap a ball, someone put it in the seats. And
And
there's nothing situational going on there,
yeah, and
which is frustrating.
that went back to one of the points I made last podcast was you had Stanton with that leadoff double. Granted, wasn't in extra innings exactly,
Another like
but
you have to score there, dude.
you got to bunt him over and do at all costs get the run in. And there's situations where you just say, "Are you doing stuff to execute and to get that runner across where they could
I
and
don't
make
think they
those
are.
small?" And yeah, I don't think that they are.
And
And
I
they're
think they know
I
they're not too.
I
That's
think
the
it's
thing.
yeah, and I think you're exactly right. They're saying gap a ball, see if we could put up a crooked number, turn it over to some guy in the pen, and then hey, if we don't lose, we'll get him tomorrow. That's how
I
it
just,
feels
well, because
sometimes.
I truly believe they would rather take their chances in winning with an extra base hit rather than play small ball and chance the game going into the 12th, 13th, or 14th inning. Like, I think that they'd rather lose than play into the 13th inning.
That's an issue, but
Like
yes,
that,
I
that's what
agree.
I think. I'm not
I
saying that's what I think they think. Um,
all the evidence points to it.
Yeah,
I
because like other teams do it, man. Like other teams bunt the runner over
They
and
play
can
like
do
there's
that.
no tomorrow at times, and the
Yeah.
Yankees don't do that
At
at
least in
times.
at least in extras, yeah.
Yeah, yes,
Um,
yes.
but again, now you're in a position where if you've won, I don't know how many games. Do you know how many games they've played in extra innings this year? Did you say that before?
I had their at bats. It was a Katie Sharp stat that
Whatever.
she
Let's
tweeted out,
if
but
they've won, I don't know, half of the extra inning games that they've lost so far. I mean, you're just not in a position where now your summer months, I mean, July and August, it feels like a lot of your games are, I don't know, what's the right way to put
so
this, Rob? More high stress than they would have been if you had a 6 game lead,
so
you
Tyler,
know?
they are on the road in extra innings since 2020. The Yankees are 12 and 22.
Yes, that is a stat I remember that I was referring to earlier in the pod about being really bad since the rule came into play. Yeah, I mean that's it just feels philosophical there. Like that's what they're like,
Actually,
nope.
update after wait, yes, yes, that is correct. Or 12 and 23 mid. I'm seeing 12 and 23, 12 and 24, so it's around there, guesstimation. But it's I don't know.
You've
It's
lost double the games you've won.
I know that the runner on second's not gonna be there in a postseason game, but I think it's not crazy to say, hey, it'd be really nice to develop some good habits in these late game
Yeah.
situations. I know that one game in June against the Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark is not going to determine if you're a good team or not at the end of the year.
But they accumulate, dude, when you play 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I
So
mean, imagine just again, we have a 1 game lead now. Like we're in a division race.
a couple of those games go the other way.
You're not in such a high stress situation where now, like, yeah, you can't lose a series to the Reds, to the A's, to the like, dude, they should have lost to the. There's a good chance they lose to the Orioles in that series before, and we haven't won a series in God knows how long, you know. Um,
The last
so
one series before
stop
that
playing good, Rob.
was Kansas City. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
good times playing Kansas City.
We'll get into more
Play
of
them
it, but
again.
let's chat about some updates. So Ryan Yarbrough is on the IL, the 15-day IL with a right oblique strain. So he will be out for quite some time. The first game that they had, they called up, excuse me, um, what's his name? Alan Winans? Winans? I don't know
Yes,
if I'm pronouncing
I
the
think it's
last name.
Winans.
Winans. Not a good outing that we'll talk about, but Yarbrough is going to be on the 15-day IL, so that is kind of a blow, especially in the summertime where
Marcus Stroman,
and
baby.
Marcus Stroman is not looking very good in Somerset, at least one of his last starts. And let's just say that Yankee fans are not eager to get him back in this rotation. This outing that I'm talking about in Double A Somerset, 3 2/3, 10 hits, given up 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 1K. So
I'm just gonna
leaves a
hope he
lot to
was
be
working on.
desired.
I'm just gonna hope he was working on one pitch that whole game and was just pumping
But
fastballs or
hey, I mean,
something.
I don't know. Would you rather have Stroman or this dude Winans that pitched the other day?
I mean,
You need a lot of pitchers to get
it
through a
doesn't.
season.
It's more the same, right? It's
Yeah.
apples to apples, brother. That at that point, it's like what guy's gonna give me 4 1/3, hopefully 3 earned. Keep me in the game. It's the same type of
But
thing.
here's the good news, though, Tyler. Luis Heel this week was facing his first hitters since straining the right lat, so that's good. Uh, he's on pace to
You got to
ramp
think
things
what
up.
August probably.
Late July, I would say early August.
You got to think
That's
at
the
least
idea.
4 rehab
So,
starts.
but here it goes back to that's why Yarbrough was so valued. Was like
Mhm.
you need to get through this, get through these months to then get to Heel, get back to the bigger guns in
Is
this
he supposed
rotation.
to miss a while or what's the? I feel like
15
I
day
remember
IL.
first seeing it and they were like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but I could be totally wrong.
Um,
Let's see. I'm just gonna type in Ryan Yarborough injury on Twitter. See what we get. But either way, it's a blow
mhm.
to not have him.
I mean, obliques are a tricky thing as
Yeah.
we know. So we don't have the exact prognosis
Yeah, I
of
don't know.
what,
I'm not
but
seeing much.
um, other news. like we said, the Yankees beat the Orioles this past weekend and had some crooked numbers, especially on Saturday. And interesting game. Jazz losing his shoes on the Sunday game.
Yes.
Early morning baseball. That was a Roku game.
Jazz is entertainment, man. Yeah, I didn't know it was a Roku game. 11
Um,
a.m.
Also, the trade market or the trade chatter is starting to heat up, man, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. I'll save it for after the we talk about the Reds games, but we'll see what the Yankees do. I
I
can't.
don't think it's going to be much.
I find it so hard to put any stock in the Yankees making significant moves.
I think just because they've done it virtually every single year they make a move or two.
But I think
I don't think it's going to be of crazy importance necessarily.
yeah, but
A
I
good
do.
reliever could be a possibility.
I don't think that they're going to do something of significance. I could be completely wrong, but I do think now watching this team now in a position as of now where they're in the first place in the American League East, and
Yeah.
I think that they have a good team. I mean, and it all depends on what other teams are selling because you
I
never
guess we
know
just need to
who's
decide what's of significance too, honestly.
who's available. And but I do think if the Yankees were to take a swing, which I doubt that they will, I think it would be very helpful to this team, and it would
Mhm.
be really important. But we know that they like the guys coming back. I'm pretty sure. Speaking of Luis Heel, Boone uttered, "It's like getting someone at the trade deadline." I shit you not. He said it
Well,
like a week or two
yeah,
ago.
I did hear that, and I
That's the
will say
mindset. So
I'm okay with heel because I really don't
no,
think
I'm
they.
thinking more of a bat is my.
Yes, yes,
I'm thinking of a bat. I'm just making that point to say that's the way they think. And
yes.
they're thinking the exact same thing offensively. And they'll speak whatever into existence.
I
Although
think
most of the
I,
guys are in place now.
I think a pen arm and a third baseman slash second baseman is more important than a starting pitcher.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but people are going to
Um,
be speaking out the yin yang about
but you kind of need all three,
Alcantara
man.
and all that.
Yeah, that's silly though. But I wouldn't take off the table them getting a high leverage reliever. Like if the Twins sell, you get Johan Duran. I freaking love him. Um, go get Clase, man. Do something crazy. The Orioles will sell. But yeah, I think they're definitely in for a reliever. I'm going to be very interested to see if they actually get a bat. I think they'll get something, like I don't know, Willie Castro, like, but
IKF.
IKF. Yeah, I'm not too. I don't think a bat is going to move the needle in any way,
I think if
honestly.
they were to, I think if they were to get Suarez somehow,
Yeah, I agree with that.
but
That
and
moves it. IKF though, nah.
no,
It'd be
I don't.
cool.
But
It'd be fun to root for.
it's cool. Like I like that. It's fun to say, and I mean he's having an amazing or
It's having
Suarez.
a good year.
Suarez is having a really good year for the Diamondbacks. He's
Hmm.
got 25 home runs, 67 RBIs. He's got an 892 OPS. That's absolutely someone that the Yankees could use at third
That's a
base
needle mover for sure.
and need at third base. And yes, you're absolutely correct. That is a needle mover. But here's the thing.
I'm not
They
convinced on the D-back selling, man. As
that
everyone's on
that
that.
that is one thing. That is a good
They're
point.
three games back of a wild
And
card.
then two, Tyler, we know this. The Yankees want players that they can control long term
Hmm.
and have an outlook to say, oh, he could be part of the season next year.
Yeah.
After the Soto stuff and other players, I don't think they're in the mood for rental market players.
I think they
I
don't mind taking a rental as long as it's virtually a salary dump, you know.
But here's the thing,
That's what Belly is.
Suarez is definitely going to cost you. And
Yes.
I would be ecstatic if they got him. And I think that's a player that could really fit this team. Question is,
How old is he?
do the Yankees really want to pay the freight and go ahead and do it? He's 33.
He's 33.
My guess is that they don't want to do it.
So I
But
don't think he's
we'll
gonna
see.
cost. All right, he's not. He probably wouldn't cost that much. What is his? Eugenio Suarez
I don't know. I think I mean,
contract.
he'd cost more than what the Yankees want to pay.
Well, I mean, 7 years, 66 million. I did not know he ever signed something like that. Oh, well, he's a free agent next year, so
Yeah,
he's
that's the
not going
thing.
to cost much at all, I would think. I mean, there will be teams that are willing to pay more, but he's not going to cost you like a Lombard or wouldn't
I
even cost you
mean, you
Spencer
kind of have to
Jones. It wouldn't
yeah,
cost you
no.
that at
You
all.
kind of though need the Diamondbacks to
Yeah,
spiral
you
too.
gotta hope the D back spiral, and then it would cost you like I don't even it wouldn't even cost you a guy like Winans. I don't think it would cost like a single A guy that the
And and
Diamondbacks
and
like,
and they're kind of on the cusp there. I mean, they're 41 and 39. They're fourth in their
15
own
million
division.
bucks.
They are
Oh, that'd be
as
great.
of now. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a
Yeah, no,
possibility,
I mean that's a good.
and
Listen, you called Jazz last year, so I'm all in on whatever you call.
I agree. Well, I don't think they're going to get him. So maybe some reverse psychology that I do want him, but I think that he's also going to be like I think a lot of teams are going to go try and get him. And just
He really
after
leads the
even just
team in
after
RBIs
last
too, huh?
even just last year after last year's trade deadline, and I know we got Jazz and we can't be too unhappy with that, but
Hmm.
there were opportunities for the Yankees. Cough cough Jack Flaherty, who then beat us in the World Series and other things that the Yankees
Yep,
maybe could
that's
have done.
true.
So,
Yeah,
and
you really have to look at the Jazz model and go and find people that have at least another year of control
yeah,
this year and next year. That would be really nice to add Suarez. I didn't
uh,
realize he was having as good of a year as he was having so far, at least. Career year, honestly.
want to get into these games.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. So game one, as I said, Winans on the mound for the Yankees. Four and a third, four earned runs, one strikeout, five hits given up. So not good, but Aaron Judge started the scoring off for the Yankees with a home run in the first. And then the Reds in the bottom of the fourth got to Winans, put up three runs there. Bottom of the fifth, Illy De La Cruz singles in another one to make them 4-1. Cruz with a home run in the bottom of the eighth. And Trevino, actually really cool. I thought it was cool of him to, I don't know
The
if you saw
walk-up
it, the walk
music,
up music
yeah.
of Judge and then used Rodon's warm up music as walk up music.
I don't know,
And
that's
then
cool.
actually in game two, it was revealed by Boone and some of the Yankees that he was egging on the umpire to throw out Jazz. So
Yeah.
Trevy's having a really solid year. So that was kind of a win-win situation, getting Cruz from Cincy and then Jose Trevino over there for the Reds. So kind of a you don't typically see it as often as you'd think, but a win-win trade at least up to this point.
Hmm.
But story in this one, Winans just making a spot start here and coming up from AAA. And, Ian Hamilton in this one goes 2 innings pitched, no earned runs there. So that was good to see. Tim Hill got hit a little bit. And then Mark Leiter, which then will carry into the next game, threw 27 pitches in this one. Then, if we go into game two, we'll
Hmm.
talk about how this transpired and everything that went on here. In this one, Rodon is pitching, goes 6 innings pitched, zero earned runs, five strikeouts. So Rodon is continuing to be very good. Second in wins or second in pitcher wins for baseball, all of baseball. Sub 3 ERA to this point as well, 2.92.
Been nasty, dude.
Yankees have three guys, Tyler, that have an ERA under three.
Pitching's
But
been good.
yeah. But the way that the Yankees score in this one, and like I mentioned, Mark Leiter, um, goes Ben Rice, home run in top of the fourth. Volpe triples in the top, also in the top of the fourth to help the Yankees go up 3-1. Encarnacion Strand with a double to left scores in three to clear the bases, and then Yankees go to extras. Aaron Judge scores on a wild pitch by Phillips. And in this one, the way that the bullpen order went, Loizaga, I think that's the biggest thing to talk about too,
Hmm.
was Carlos Rodon at 88 pitches. In that, just watching that, you'd say, why the hell are you taking him out of the game? It was revealed later that, as we were talking about at the start of the
Took
show,
himself out.
the Heat is very troubling. And then it carried into apparently Jonathan Loaisiga, who, when he was taken off the mound, we're like, oh, is he hurt again? Is he hurt? Little illness, sickness that we're still figuring out about. So he went only a third of an inning, gave up that bases clearing double, which
Hmm.
then tied the game. And so in that moment where we didn't know heat was such a factor, yes, I would get on Boone for taking out Rodon, but we know that other things were at play. Loizaga, he could be dealing with something, but even just still, Tyler, I don't know if you've changed your mind because of hearing that. I just can't put like a crazy amount of stock in Jonathan Loizaga at this moment.
No,
I
I
really
mean,
can't.
he's
It's fine, whatever we get, but really like talking about him as a significant piece of this bullpen,
no,
I
you
can't
can't.
do that.
I mean, he's totally reached DJ LeMahieu expectation territory, virtually where it's like I expect nothing. I kind of expect you to be hurt, and hopefully you do something productive when you're on the field. But again, I expect nothing, which stinks, man. Because I remember sitting, at the time in my office, in like 2021, and I was all about Laza. I think fans loved him.
Yeah.
And he got hurt, and he came back this year and really hasn't been too much. It feels like he hasn't been consistent in a while. Feels like a broken dream we've all been holding on to ever so slightly. But yeah, I'm not confident in Laza in any way,
No.
especially just this year, dude. 16 and two-thirds innings pitched. He's only got 15 strikeouts on the year. That's like not the pitcher I saw when he kind of came up and blossomed and was one of the best relievers in the league for that one little stretch he had.
I still have visions of him getting out of that Boston game, bases loaded, and just
Yeah,
dropping as you know what. And I don't know.
199 ERA plus in 2021. Nasty, but yeah, like the strikeouts haven't been there. He just hasn't looked good. He's looked really bad against lefties, and I'm pretty sure he got hit around. I think the bases clearing double he gave up was, I don't remember who it was to, but I think it was a righties.
Encarnacion Strand.
Gotcha. Um, so yeah, Laza's been tough, man. I mean, he can potentially foreshadow a
Actually
slump
gave it up to a
watch.
righty. Yeah, it's
It was a righty,
foreshadowing.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't pitch to anyone right now.
Excuse me. So Jazz also got ejected in this game. Frustrated on a bad call, objectively a bad call. But I think that it's fair to say the frustration to a point of where he was in the dugout. And we heard after the fact that Trevi was like telling the umpire to look over to third and see what was being said to him.
I think that's fine.
But I mean, it goes
Some
back to
gamesmanship.
this team, you've been the Yankees' hottest hitter now for the past 8 games.
I think Jazz was totally at fault, dude.
And yeah, that's the thing. I know it's hot and the tempers are flaring, but can't get ejected in that game, man.
Dude, and
We need you in the lineup.
the
And
ump was letting him freaking like run his mouth for
yeah,
forever.
went
It
into the
felt like
dugout, in the
like
dugout, came back out, and he's like, all right, enough of this shit, and threw
ran
him
his
out.
mouth like throughout the at bat, after the at bat, on the way to the dugout. Like, shut up, dude. I love Jazz. Um, and I don't know if I've ever really sided with an ump necessarily, but I mean, he had no choice but to toss him. It seems
Yeah.
like Jazz wanted to get tossed.
Because if next
Judge
time he
tried to
comes
calm
up,
him down, bro, like
yeah.
walked him to the far side of the dugout. That's bad. And then you know who took that at bat in extras? DJ. So
Yeah.
thanks, Jazz.
And then, like I was saying, to talk about the bringing in Mark Leiter, giving him a little bit too long of a leash in that game where you say that's where a moment where you're saying, where's the urgency to maybe win? And is it in a spot where you could have turned it over to one of the fresher arms? Granted, not as good as Mark Leiter, but coming off a 27 pitch count the night before and then having him throw 28 again is not ideal in my brain, right? Um, I think that if to shift focus from taking out Rodon early, that is a bullpen error that I think that can be put on Aaron Boone, but it is
What,
what it is.
leaving Leiter out?
Yes, I think that they should have taken him out earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair because he threw. however many pitches the day before, 27, 30, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's their again, I think all that they
But
cared about was not burning another arm, which
but here,
is a
like,
bad
here's
way
the
to
thing.
manage.
I don't want to
But I
watch JT Brubaker, but if, I would kind of want him to get in that game there and just. I know he's not going to
fresh
be as
arm,
good.
yeah.
That's the
I mean,
thing.
Leiter just looked tired. Like he looked like he had no command. He looked tired.
Yes, but that's where it goes back to our earlier conversation of they didn't necessarily care as much as you would
Yeah.
think, and they just said, "Okay, this is
And
fine."
I'm down. If that is Boone's call, I'm down to get on Boone for that. I think it's a regime decision that we're going to burn as few arms as possible and we don't care about
They
winning.
say they empower him to do it, though.
Yeah, I guess you can't argue with that, honestly. So,
They say he makes those decisions.
yeah.
I don't care. I'm down to put it on whoever.
It
But I'm like
just needs to
I
change.
would like them to try and win. I know JT
Yeah.
Brubaker is not this. He's not Mariano, but hey, you guys lost game one. Can you win game two and then win the series? So that's what I'm saying. Put a
They
couple
also
series wins together.
yeah. They also don't they also really do need another bullpen arm. But
They
then,
do.
when Laza and Fernando Cruz
What have you got me?
virtually only get you 3 outs and pitch essentially 1 inning, you're kind of in a hole when you head to extras, I guess. So you can kind of call, Loizaga is the reason that these decisions had to be made.
It's the weather altogether.
Hey, we're all playing in the same weather. Not me, but they're all playing in the
Hey,
same
you are
weather.
out there, man. That's you full
Yep.
time. You're outside in the
Out with the
elements.
dogs, baby.
Okay, so lost that game, and then game number three, Max Fried was masterful, I would say. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. The way the Yankees score in this game, Grisham singling in, Jason Dominguez thought they could have gotten a couple more runs across the board
Hmm.
in that first inning. Wanted them to capitalize, put up more of a crooked number, but it didn't really matter too much because in the top of the third, Jazz Chisholm back after being ejected the night before pimped a home run in the top of the third, and you could guarantee that was for the Reds and for the umpire and the
Yeah, he
situation
liked that.
prior. And then Steer helped reached on an infield single to get an Ellie Dela Cruz or scored on the throwing error from Jazz actually. Um, that's a 3-1 ball game there, and then rest of the game, Volpe with a sac fly, Judge hits in, DJ with a double. Stanton with a ground fielder's choice, and then Wells with a little insurance at the top of the ninth makes it a 7-1 game. And then Fernando Cruz with a scoreless outing. And then also Brew Baker gets in the game and pitches pretty okay. 11
Look at
pitches,
that.
nothing
Look
there.
at that.
So the Yankees salvaged that game, and let's just carry it into Oakland, or I was say carry it into Oakland, carry it into the A's series, and carry it into going back to the Bronx
Back to
because
the Bronx, baby.
um, but let's talk about it shifting off this game. I'll talk about my savage of the series.
My guys are fucking savages in that fucking box, right?
Max Fried is just, he's awesome, man. Max Fried is awesome
Nice
to
Cy Young,
watch.
dude.
I mean, you could totally make the argument right now that he is the Cy Young of the American League. Right now, he's leader in wins in all of baseball, second in ERA for all of baseball, first in ERA for the American League, second in innings pitched in all of baseball, and also ninth in opponents' average. So,
It looks effortless
and
sometimes.
and here's the thing. I mean, we don't want to dwell on whatever happened in the offseason, but the way that he's pitching right now as the plan B option, you couldn't be any happier. Max Fried
Yeah.
is just dicing these lineups, and he has had some bad outings this year, but all things considered, he's been a excellent pitcher for this Yankees
Yeah.
team. And when you think about it in the long run, that where they could be without him, it's not in a good place. And then also too, you look at now Rodon and Clark putting things into gear. All those guys have sub 3 ERAs, and you couldn't be happier with where
Yeah.
this staff is at this moment in time, given the circumstances.
Yeah, man. Max Fried, it's a great award, Rob. I'd say Max Fried being Max Fried for this far into the season has really allowed us to I guess, just take the Garrett Cole news and injury just on the chin, like that we've been able to
Yeah.
absorb that so far this year. Like it doesn't feel like, I know we had that little like what 10, 15 game stretch in like late April, early May or whatever, where the starting pitching really wasn't giving us much, but it feels like the pitching just simply hasn't been a problem from the starters at least, which is all you can really ask for. So Max Fried will be getting some Cy Young votes, my man. And how awesome would that be if he wins it
That'd be
first year in
cool.
pinstripes? That'd be great, dude.
Who do you got for your Savage of the series?
My Savage of the series, Rob, was kind of a toss up for me. His Fried had to get one. And then, you know, I guess you can give it to a couple people, but I wanted to give it to either Trent or Jason. And I'm gonna give it to Jason just because he played all 3 games, well, got into all 3. Started 2, had 6 hits, Rob. No ribbies, 2 runs scored. So I'm giving
Striking
it
the ball though.
yep,
Good.
I'm giving it to Jason because he had an extra hit there, one. I think he stole a bag yesterday. I don't have those numbers, though. I can't see that for some reason. Um, but I kind of had just gotten on both of these players. And I'm glad Jason, being the rook he is, every time it gets a little loud, I feel like he has a decent series in some way. The defense has not been a problem. And like I said, in the only game you win this series, you have 4 hits and 2 runs scored. I'm going to take that. But also, I'm going to shout out Trent too. He had 4 hits in this series, only started 2 games.
You talked about a little debate there, and both of them are hitting not too bad.
That's fine, man. Right? I mean, that's totally fine. That's what we're going to do. I mean, Trent at this point in the season, dude, 70 games almost, 251, 351 on base, 481 slug, 831 OPS. Jason, 738 OPS. I mean, I won't get upset about it if they kind of maintain what they're doing. Rice had a decent series too, so I'm happy some of the noise has quieted down, if quieted is a word.
I think
There. I think there's more noise around like the Wells Volpe type, DJ right now, um, than anything. Wells has not been great, bro.
no.
Um,
I think here I have one for you. I guess
yeah.
this takes us into our Savage slump watch. Oh wait, wrong one. I just hit the wrong one there. Hold on. I got my things mixed up here. Why can't I see it? Hold on.
They stink.
There we go. Sorry, I just missed around my thing. But I think a big point with these guys that are struggling, Paul Goldschmidt has been pretty bad
Mhm.
lately. Last 7 games, hitting 077, a 111 on base, 231 slug, 8 strikeouts, only 1 home run to show for. It's not been good for Paulie Goldschmidt lately. And like you
Nope.
said, I think he's being put on the back burner a little bit of the blame, but people are acknowledging it. It's more like you said, the younger guys, I'd say Volpe especially with the errors and the base running
Mhm.
mistakes that he's made. But for a guy that got off to a really hot start, now I think we need the All-Star break.
Yes.
I think just the team needs the All-Star break.
I
But I
can
think a
agree
lot
with
of these
that.
players need the All-Star break too.
Well, I think today was their first day off in 16 straight games.
Yes, it
So
was.
hopefully that does something for him.
Do they have and then they do have one off day before the All-Star break too. I thought then they did it again, like they did like 17 in a row, but they have
That
one
would
day
be
off.
that'd be terrible. Um, but yeah, there isn't too many. Didn't have a hit in the Orioles series. I mean, that'll do it to you, Rob. I mean, you don't have a hit in this series. You don't have a hit against the
He didn't
Orioles.
play the third game either. He didn't play the third game.
Yeah, he only played 2 games against the Reds and 2 games against the
But he's
Orioles.
still been bad.
But yeah,
So
the games he's played, he hasn't had a hit in. And then against the Angels, he played all 4 and had 2 hits in 4, 8, 12, 14 at bats. So
need to pick it up.
because against Boston, he had a couple hits. Against Kansas City, he had a 2-hit game. He had a hit off the bench, and then he had a hit in every game in that series. You just got to get, I think Paul, I'm the least worried about just because he's a veteran, and I'm confident in his ability to hit any lefty at any time.
That's
Righties,
fair.
still a thing, but
I think it's just an issue because the rest of the team is there's
yes.
some guys that are kind of sucking. So
I still think this is why I'm not incredibly worried. Like, is this okay? Like, is this dumb of me to think? Like, I'm less
so
worried about the. Do you know what I'm going to say though? Like, I'm less worried about the team because they all slumped at once, rather than last year. It was like we're pitching around
so
Judge and Soto to get to everyone else.
my fear or my like outlook for the team, right? More specifically the lineup, because the pitching staff has been good, starting staff. The bullpen hopefully will figure itself out with some moves and some guys coming back and here and there and placement or whatever.
They've earned the right for
I
us to be confident in their bullpen at some point.
I think that with some outliers, typically, and you tell me if you disagree or not, it's just a matter of who these guys are.
Yep.
Everyone makes the argument, oh, you don't need an all-star at every position. Totally get it. I think for a championship level lineup, you need at least like 5 guys that are, especially if you're going up against the Dodgers or a team like that.
Yeah.
I typically think that championship level teams have 5 studs in that lineup. Not necessarily
I mean,
overnight.
5 studs is a lot of
Well,
studs.
here's what I'm saying.
The only team that has is the Dodgers.
No, but let me define studs.
Yes.
I think I'm not talking guys that are hitting 900 OPS, right?
Okay.
I'm not
So
saying,
Trent Grisham would be classified as a stud thus far.
but
That's
I
an
have
830
but-
OPS.
Yes,
Okay.
thus far. Here's
thus
the thing.
far. That's fine.
Here's the thing. My issue is I seriously question those guys then doing it for a long period of time. One, if you're looking at Trent Grisham, because historically, if you look back at the back of his baseball card, he has not done that for a prolonged period of time.
Yes.
Then
Trent,
also-
you can say that for sure.
Then also, if you look at a guy like Ben Rice,
That's fine.
he just needs more of a sample size and to see him for a consistent basis. So
That's
then
fine.
you go back to who you'd look at, right? You say Judge, yes, absolutely, no doubt.
So Judge.
You would say in past years, yes, like Stanton, but you can't rely on him because he's not healthy and you don't know when he's going to play or how much he's going to play.
I haven't not had him for a postseason in
But that's
forever.
the thing.
So let's keep that in the back. Like I feel like he's here.
Once he gets in the lineup, that could be a different thing because he's shown us to do it before. Jazz Chisholm Jr. has been good this year. He has an 804 OPS.
And that's starting off hitting 180, dude. He's been ridiculous since he got back.
I want to see how then he progresses because I still think, man, in a championship level lineup, especially if you're going up against the Dodgers, or even if you're looking at teams like, I mean, Detroit's got some boppers this year too.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need at least your top 5. I think they got to be around like 850 OPS guys, close to.
Well, that's a very good year. I mean, yeah, 850 is really
But that's
strong.
a championship team. You don't think that?
No, I agree with you. But
I just have my doubts about this team consistently doing that.
That's
really
fine.
do.
I think it's tough to find a team of 5 guys that hit at an 850 OPS because in my head, I think 5 guys that can hit for an 850 OPS for any extended period of time instantly to rattle off is Goldie. Belly is capable of doing that. Jazz, Judge, and Stanton. So I really do think there is 6 dudes there, and that is excluding Ben Rice, Jason.
I don't know.
Who else am I missing? Ben Rice, Jason. Did I say Stan? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I guess that is excluding Ben Rice. Oh, Trent. That's who I'm forgetting. That's excluding Ben Rice, Trent, and Jason and Volpe, where you look at those 4 and your catcher, and you kind of go, whatever you guys give us, just be average. I don't know. I think there's enough there collectively. I really do. They can go cold at any time, but any team can do that.
But they do it all the time.
They do it all the time in June. We can say that.
I don't know. I'm fine. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I think like maybe not 850 OPS, but some guys that can give you like a strong 820, 830 OPS guys.
But like, for example, I think Goldie, I know he's been bad. You just rattled off the last 7 games or whatever. He has a 778 OPS on the year right now. 288, 346, 432 slug, 118 OPS plus. If you're in between that 118, 125 OPS plus area, I think you're a pretty good ball. I think you're a pretty good player that if you were on another team, we'd be saying we should trade for that guy. That's what I think.
All right.
Um, you know,
I don't
if
know.
if Trent Grisham was doing this on another, maybe not Trent, but third baseman.
We'll see
When's
how it all comes.
Oswaldo Cabrera come back, man? They did say there's a chance.
This
Or
year?
that's what I saw something that came out.
No
Yes,
way, dude. I've been
100%.
seeing videos of him walking in a boot
He's in a boot.
forever.
Yeah.
No
All right,
way.
just type in Oswaldo Cabrera chance to return, see what pops up.
No way. Who do you have for, oh, by the way, who do you have for your Savage Slump Watch?
Did you answer already?
Yeah, I
What
did
did you
Goldie.
say?
Yeah, Goldie. Then we went on a
Mine's
tangent.
Loizaga. Bad. One, you lost us a game. You got one out, gave up 3 runs. Bases clearing double to a righty. That's the one you should get out righties, not give up bases clearing doubles to them. So, Laza, you stink.
Yeah, I don't. Where are you seeing this stuff about Oswaldo Cabrera? I'm looking this
Even
up.
if you just, all right, so I just asked AI. It says Oswaldo Cabrera has a quote unquote small possibility of returning to play for the Yankees in 2025. Um, the injury was initially deemed season ending. He's
Oh, here I found it. I
currently,
found it. I found
yeah,
it.
it's probably not going to happen, but it's
Oh,
just,
they told me
it,
it's a small possibility that it's a small possibility, but a small possibility that I trust that one. So I'm a very optimistic guy. I mean,
I mean, if it happened, it would be like a Matt Carpenter thing where like we see you play for the first time in 2.5 months in the ALDS and you just are terrible. Like it would be something like it's not. I mean, I was just joking. It's not gonna happen.
no, I don't think so. Um, well, yeah, you caught me off guard with that one. I did not see that. I did not see that.
But moral of the story, I'm still not incredibly worried about the offense because I just think collectively there's enough guys around Judge, assuming people keep doing what they've been doing. There are 2 guys that very well may not do what they've been doing. And that is Trent. It's really rude to do what the way I speak about Trent and Ben Rice.
I still just look at like having DJ LeMahieu, Oswald Peraza, and
Well,
like,
only one of
well,
those
no,
guys
no,
is your 9 hitter.
I'm saying like other parts of this infield. I'm like, oh man, it would be really nice to get a player of the caliber of Suarez in here.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then I'm saying to myself, like, oh, okay, this is nice.
Like I just really wonder if they got something like is there any way they trade some like a position player?
No, they're gonna hold on to Peraza this year because I mean he has no
I know.
value, but I don't know.
I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah. So they
They'll be,
play.
I think they'll be fine.
So they play. I was about to say Oakland again. They play the Athletics this weekend, and then they'll play Toronto. So that'll be a divisional opponent, and then they play the Mets next weekend for July 4th. Yeah, that's next weekend. Yeah, next weekend for July 4th. So both teams suck. So I saw a funny
Hmm.
tweet that the Mets and Yankees should be paying us to go see them right now
Yes,
because
the
that
Mets are in a worse landslide than we are right now.
and yeah, I think they're about the
10
same
of
record.
11 or 11 of 12, something like that.
Yeah. So
They've lost.
yeah. But
And they
that is
vote.
it
Yeah.
for episode 210. Appreciate everyone for joining us. Did you have something else to say? You're gonna
No,
say
I was
you're
gonna
gonna take it?
say I thought the Mets were gonna run away with the NL East too.
No, that's baseball, Susan.
It's
It's got
baseball.
a long
The
year. Long.
Astros are gonna run away with their division. Astros are
Um,
back, baby. Paredes.
I don't know. Cal Raleigh and the Seattle Mariners.
Nah, I hate that guy. After that comment, did you hear his like home run comment or whatever?
No, what did he say?
That's like some little dig at Judge in some way where he's like, unless this was a complete parody quote and I totally bought it, but it was something along the lines of like, yeah, well, it's 31 home runs is like a lot harder to do in this ballpark. Like I don't know, something about the ballpark.
No way that was real.
I don't know, maybe it wasn't.
That had to be like I saw him on with the Pardon My Take guys. That probably had to be. I don't
Oh,
know. We'll
rally.
see. That debate is for another episode. We did. I think we did it
Yes.
last time. Not even a debate. It's not even up for debate. But
Not no,
that's
not
it
at
for
the
episode
moment.
210. Appreciate everyone for joining us. If you're new, subscribe so you can stay up to date with all episodes on our YouTube and as well as Spotify and Apple. And follow us on our social channels to keep up with all Yankee news and highlights and everything like that. So appreciate everyone for tuning in for 210. We'll catch it 211. Peace.